freedom. That's the focus of this month. And freedom is a belief. Freedom is an attitude. Freedom is an idea. Freedom is how we choose to act between the stimulus and the response. So I'm going to share a little story with you about my being here today and freedom. I live in Massachusetts, in the Berkshires, and I happened to be in Manhattan last Tuesday. And last Tuesday evening, I was walking across 72nd Street and Columbus Avenue. And 72nd Street is a crosstown street. Cars going east and west. I'm kind of right in the center of the street on the yellow line. Who do I see but Joseph? And there we stop on the yellow line and are hugging. A friend of mine was with me and kind of said, get back on the sidewalk. So we get back on the sidewalk, and my memory of that experience is that Joseph said to me, oh, I was thinking of you this morning and what you might be giving out on Sunday. And my response was, no, I'm not speaking there until December, based on who knows what information. He said, yeah, but I don't have my phone, but I announced that you're speaking. Well, oh, okay. I'll look it up on my phone as well. I'll look at the calendar. I thought, oh, I'm going to be in New Hampshire this weekend. So we both went in opposite directions. I took a crosstown bus and noticed, yeah, I really am on the calendar, on my own calendar. This isn't just New Thought Spiritual Center of Eastern Long Island calendar on my calendar, but I hadn't looked ahead. It was only July 5th. I hadn't looked ahead to July 10th. And then I got a text from Joseph, yeah, you're speaking. And here was the freedom. I thought, this is a place I love to be. There's no question in my mind that I'm going to be here. And I thought, there's just one person who's going to be upset. So I'm going to call her right now and say, you know, you're probably going to be disappointed because we made these plans months ago, but I'm speaking at my spiritual community on Sunday, and that's where I'm going to be. And everything then just fell into place. What came to my mind about freedom in this situation is, years ago, I would have said things like, oh, how could you have forgotten? You're so stupid. Now you're going to disappoint people, and you're not ready, and you're not this, and you're not that, and you're not the other thing. And instead, I was so grateful to have bumped into Joseph on 72nd Street and Columbus Avenue. And so I share this as an example that at every single moment, we have the opportunity to make the choice about how we are going to view a particular circumstance or situation and what our response is going to be. And we got the instructions very clearly in the opening song today, where we're asking God, we're asking love to use us, to command my hands, to command my life, to give me the directions so I can be an ever-expanding and deepening mighty expression of love in the world. And there are some really scary things going on in the world today. And it's very easy to point a finger at someone who's pulled a trigger, at someone who's spewing words of hate, at an entire religion, an entire race. Yet we sit in here this morning in this sanctuary of love where we ask God to use us, where we ask love to use us, when we ask that the veil be lifted so that each one of us can use our thoughts charged with emotional energy, spoken of with authority, and acted on with conviction. We can use our thoughts as drops into the sea of collective consciousness so that there is a tipping point of love, not simply in our own personal lives or within our families, and sometimes within our families it's the most difficult place to be loving, in our communities, in our workplaces, and in the larger world. But what if your loving thought, your loving energy as you exhale is the tipping point for someone waking up and knowing that they are loved, that they are safe, and that love, the freedom to be mighty expressions of love in the world, is as close as our next thought. So I was thinking this morning about how different religions express this idea in a variety of ways. In the Jewish tradition, it's called tikkun olam, which means acts of kindness that are performed to repair the tears in the fabric of life. And what are the tears? The tears are when we forget that we are mighty expressions of love in the world. The tears are when we blame either a part of ourselves or we blame others for not living up to our expectations or for the programming that's running them. Or we decide, I can love this side of the room, but that side of the room, I don't know. We make these distinctions and we make these judgments. In the Muslim tradition, Ramadan, the month-long period of prayer and sacrifice in order to strengthen the connection with Source, and during that time, part of that experience is to share and to give to those who have less. And then it occurred to me this morning, what did Jesus say on the cross? He said, forgive them, they know not what they do. And what we're forgiving is the thinking that has us think, because there's space between us, that we're separate. But the truth is, in the space between us, our breath, air, the air that moves through my body gets charged with the emotional energy that I'm feeling at any particular moment is out here, and you may just breathe it in. So while it looks like we're separate, we are one in this sea of the breath of life. And then in the Buddhist tradition, there is the loving kindness prayer, the metta prayer. And I ask that you simply close your eyes as I read a long version of this and simply be aware of where it resonates within you. May I be at peace. May my heart remain open. May I awaken to the light of my own true nature. May I be healed. May I be a source of healing for all beings. May I be a source of healing for all beings. May you be at peace. may your heart remain open. May you awaken to the light of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for all beings. May my enemies be at peace. May my enemies' hearts remain open. May my enemies awaken to the light of their own true nature. May my enemies be healed. May my enemies be a source of healing for all beings. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. So where are the places within you where there are shackles? What are the limitations? What are the conditions that you place on love? Starting with loving yourself. Because without loving ourselves, we limit the supply that we have to offer others. So what is it that you complain about yourself? What are you angry about? How do you imprison yourself in thoughts that then make it easier to judge others? Because if we're judging ourselves, we're getting practice in judging. And when we become expert at it, it happens extremely easily. It happens on automatic. This is good and that is bad. I was, as people all over the world, and certainly in this country, what's gone on in the past few years in terms of the violence and what appears to be such senseless killings, and so easy to, if you listen to the news, which I don't very often, I trust that I'm going to hear whatever I need to know. It's so easy to hear stories of blame. So while I felt a sadness and kind of a horror at the violence that continues, I wanted to know how I could expand my thinking. How could I see what's going on in the world as a way that keeps my heart open? And so, the act of creation, in a sense, is we make it up all the time. Some of us may go inside and ask Source, ask God, what's my next step? And we listen to that. It comes from this sea of infinite creativity. So I asked myself, how can I view what's going on in the world in a way that keeps my heart open and frees me to be loving? And here's the thought that popped up. I thanked the people who gave their lives as a potent reminder for me to be loving. Because when we see tragedy, when we see violence, when we see abuse, when we see any kind of ism being expressed, we have a choice. We can become fearful, we can become hopeless, that nothing I do is going to make a difference. Or we can allow the sadness, the pain, even the hopelessness to open our hearts in order for our love to shine through. In order to smile at the checkout person. In order to say when it seems impossible to make a left-hand turn on 27, maybe this is the safest place for me to be at this moment. So our freedom lies in our ability to choose the meaning that we give to circumstances. And as humans, we are meaning-making machines. So I do have something for you. Unfortunately, and it's going to relate to the meaning making. So I only have one pouch, and then I use one cup. These are there are some duplicates in here, but they're different. Oh, and I forgot a separate one. I'm going to remember next time. But there are a lot of different ones. I ask you to trust, to have the freedom to surrender that you are going to pick the charm that is absolutely perfect for you, rather than getting it in your head and figuring out what I need. But surrender, because freedom requires a surrender to a capacity of trust that all is well, that I am supported. So for this row, for this section and this section, when you have gone through, please pass it to the middle section. There are a variety. I touched every one of them. I looked at them. And when Joseph said to me, on the yellow strip in the middle of 72nd Street, I was wondering this morning what you were going to give out. I had this immediate thought of, I don't have time to order charms. And then I remembered I had this fabulous assortment of charms, and I think I texted him and said, I have something great to give out. I want to end just reading a few more things, because I find these very powerful. I just have to find them. And so one is from Bob Marley, and 2 years ago I spoke about this topic. And I came here with loads of quotes. And I listened to that recording early this morning. And I read only one quote at that time. It was a Bob Marley quote, which happened to be in the song that Keelan chose to sing that day, and we had no contact. And I think this speaks to freedom. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. And that's what freedom is. So if you notice that there is a knot, whether it's a K-N-O-T or an N-O-T that's alive within you, when you notice it, celebrate your noticing. Your noticing is the light of conscious awareness, giving you the choice about the meaning you are going to make up or allow to move through you from the source that connects us all, from God, from love, because the world needs each one of us to allow our love to not only flow out, to flow in as well. So thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for whatever was involved in having two beings come together at that holy intersection of 72nd Street and Columbus Avenue.